It's just after midnight on a 2-lane blacktop somewhere in the Ozark backcountry. A driver's headlights sweep the tree line, and for half a second, something is standing there. 8 feet of it, upright, watching, gone into the dark before the brake lights even flash. It's the newest entry in a paper trail that stretches back nearly 2 centuries. And it is far from the strangest. The Missouri landscape is a study in contrasts. To the north, the rolling glaciated plains. To the south, the rugged ancient geology of the Ozark Plateau. This is a region defined by dense oak hickory forests, labyrinthine cave systems, and thousands of miles of winding waterways. But for nearly 2 centuries, residents of the Show Me State have reported something else inhabiting these woods, something that science has yet to officially catalogue. While many associate the legend of Bigfoot with the misty rainforests of the Pacific Northwest, the reporting record in Missouri is among the most robust in North America. According to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO, Missouri has 168 logged reports, ranking it as the 9th highest state for sightings in the country. These are not merely historical footnotes or campfire ghost stories. The record is active and ongoing, with credible reports continuing through August 2025. In this documentary, we are looking at the Show Me State through the lens of accumulated evidence. We are moving past the simple binary of real or hoax to examine a pattern that follows the terrain. From the Missouri river bluffs to the deep hollows of the Shannon County backcountry, the data reveals a consistency of detail that demands a serious hearing. This is an investigation into a plausible, though unproven, biological reality. A large, undocumented primate navigating the American heartland. And the first place that pattern shows up isn't in a single dramatic story. It's on a map. The strongest version of the Missouri case rests not on any single sensational story, but on the sheer volume and geographic clustering of the reports. Approximately 65% of all Missouri sightings occur in the heavily forested Ozark region south of the Missouri River. This is a pattern that aligns perfectly with the ecology of a large mammal. It follows high annual rainfall, typically over 35 inches, and proximity to major river basins like the Merrimack, the Current, and the Gasconade. The reports recur in specific counties with striking frequency. Pike, Crawford, Pulaski, and Taney counties appear time and again in the database. Taney County alone holds 7 logged reports. Pike and Vernon each have 5. This is not a random scatter across the map. It is a distribution that follows low human population density and high-quality wildlife habitat. The witnesses are as varied as the terrain. They include a Missouri State University student near Smithville Lake in 2012 who described an entity standing 2 feet taller than his Jeep, its eyes reflecting light like taillights. They include a fisherman on the Merrimack River in Crawford County who, in July 2022, reported a large rock thrown at him from the brush, in a spot where a similar incident had happened before. They include a resident of Clinton County who, in August 2023, watched 2 sets of large green eyes reflect back from a spotlight near the town of Holt. Most recently, that trail camera in Butler County near Poplar Bluff reportedly captured its photograph of a bipedal figure in August 2025. This persistence of reporting into the digital age suggests that whatever is prompting these accounts has not been displaced by modern technology. It's being documented by it. But sightings alone aren't proof. And before we go further, we need to confront the explanation mainstream science already has on the table. The expert consensus among most zoologists is that these sightings are cases of misidentified black bears, Ursus americanus. This explanation is grounded in real data. Missouri's black bear population, nearly wiped out by the 1930s, has undergone a massive recovery since reintroduction efforts began in neighboring Arkansas in the late 1950s. Today, Missouri is home to an estimated 800 to 1,000 bears, and their numbers are climbing every year. Statistically, sighting frequency often tracks bear density. A large, dark-furred animal moving through a thicket at dusk can easily be misread by a startled observer. It's a clean, simple explanation, but it starts to strain under the weight of the specific details witnesses keep reporting. Many of these witnesses are experienced hunters, farmers, and outdoorsmen. People who have seen hundreds of bears and know their anatomy and gait cold. What they describe instead is bipedal locomotion that is fluid, almost gliding, lacking both the vertical bounce of a human walk and the clumsy, top-heavy shuffle of a bear standing upright. They report height estimates of 7 to 8 feet, well past the shoulder height of even a large black bear on its hind legs. And bears, notably, do not strike trees with branches to signal each other. They do not throw rocks with overhead accuracy. They do not produce multi-tonal, primate-like whoops or speech-like vocalizations. That gap between the bear hypothesis and what witnesses actually describe is the real open question here. And nowhere does it show up sharper than in the case that put Missouri on the cryptid map for good. Pike County, 1972. No discussion of Missouri's cryptid history is complete without the landmark case of Momo, the Missouri monster. The name has since become local folklore, almost a joke. But the original reporting from July 1972 in Louisiana, Missouri, was a dead serious event that pulled in local authorities, national news media, and dozens of witnesses. It began on July 11, 1972, at the base of Marzolf Hill. 3 siblings, Terry, Wiley, and Doris Harrison, were playing near their home when they came face to face with a 7-foot-tall hairy beast. Doris, then 15, described it as black and hairy, standing like a man but not looking like one. Most disturbing of all, the children said the creature was carrying a dead bloody dog under its arm. The encounter came with a powerful, noxious odor. Terry Harrison's father, Edgar, called it a moldy, horse-like smell or a strong garbage stench. Another resident, Vivian Houchins, said it was worse than any old goat, and noted that while the creature's growl sounded like a bear doesn't run on 2 feet. This wasn't a one-off glimpse. In the weeks that followed, more sightings piled up along the Mississippi River bluffs. Richard Allen Murray, the town's fire chief and a sitting city council member, reported seeing an upright figure caught in his headlights while driving along a creek. His words were simple. "I was amazed to see something. I thought it was a bunch of nonsense, but then I saw something." The physical evidence gave the case a specificity that's rare in cryptid reporting. Plaster casts of footprints were pulled from Marzolf Hill, one print 10 inches long and 5 inches wide, another showing 3 distinct toe-like impressions. Those casts were sent to Lawrence Curtis, then director of the Oklahoma City Zoo. A professional zoological authority, Curtis assessed the tracks as belonging to an unknown primate species. The town's fervor grew so intense that a 20-person posse formed to hunt the creature, and police sealed off a 200-acre wooded area for the search. No animal was ever caught. But Momo remains a pillar of Missouri research precisely because of the credibility of its witnesses and the professional weight behind the track evidence. And Momo was only one encounter. Across the decades since, a much larger body of evidence has built up. Evidence that doesn't require anyone to see a thing. The Missouri reporting record isn't only about what people see. It's about what they hear and what the subjects leave behind in the environment around them. Modern research groups like the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, which operates extensively in the nearby Ouachita Mountains, have spent years cataloguing these non-visual indicators. One of the most common is the wood knock, a percussive sound made by striking a tree with a branch or log, often described as landing with the force of Paul Bunyan swinging a 60-inch baseball bat. In many cases, these knocks are interactive. The unseen source answers a researcher's own knock in a rhythmic back and forth. Then there's the audio evidence. Investigators across the region have recorded vocalizations that primatologists describe as strikingly primate-like. Multitonal whoops similar to gibbon calls, and howls of remarkable power and duration. The most controversial category is what researchers call samurai chatter, or faux speech. Rapid, speech-like vocalization patterns that resemble a conversation in a language no one recognizes. The working theory is that as bipedal apes, both humans and these undocumented primates may have independently evolved the neck and brain structures capable of producing complex sound. Then there's the intimidation. Missouri reports frequently describe rock throwing, stones ranging from coin-sized to basketball-sized, hurled at campers or structures with startling accuracy. One long-term field study in the region, Operation Endurance, documented over 1,000 rock-throwing incidents, including rocks found on cabin roofs 20 feet up in places gravity alone could never have put them. Combined with reports of cabin walls being slapped and vehicles rocked on their suspension, the picture is one of a highly territorial animal using intimidation to push people out. If something out there is throwing those rocks and shaking those walls, its footprints should tell us what it actually is. That's where this case stops being anecdotal and starts getting scientific. Dr. Jeff Meldrum, a professor of anatomy and anthropology at Idaho State University, has personally analyzed over 300 footprint casts attributed to these creatures. He points to one specific anatomical feature that keeps showing up: the midtarsal break. Unlike the human foot, built around a fixed longitudinal arch for a stiff-legged stride, these casts show evidence of a flexible joint in the midfoot, visible as a pressure ridge, a mound of soil pushed up through the middle of the print as the foot flexes during the push-off. This detail appears in casts dating back to 1958 and shows up consistently in prints from Missouri and across the continent. It would be nearly impossible for a hoaxer to fake on purpose, since the midtarsal break wasn't even a recognized concept in paleoanthropology until decades after the Patterson-Gimlin film was shot. That flexibility explains the compliant gait so many Missouri witnesses describe independently of each other. Walking with bent knees and hips lets an animal avoid the up and down bounce of a human stride, allowing it to move a massive frame, estimated in some cases at over 700 pounds, efficiently across steep, broken forest terrain. That's not a man in a suit. It's not a bear rearing up. It's a specialized adaptation built for a heavy, bipedal forest dweller. We're left with a genuine gap. On one side, a complete absence of physical remains. No body, no bone, no unambiguous specimen accepted by mainstream science. On the other, a continuous reporting record in Missouri stretching back over 190 years, from the wild man accounts of 1834 to a trail camera photo in 2025. Misidentification and hoaxing are real, and they explain a real share of the data, but they don't explain everything. They don't explain the consistent biomechanics found in the trackways, the complex primate-like vocalizations recorded independently by different researchers, or the testimony of people who spent their entire lives in these woods and swear they saw something their knowledge of Missouri wildlife couldn't account for. The Ozarks remain one of the last great wilderness stretches in the American interior, a place of deep shadows and stubborn mysteries. Whether the pattern we've traced tonight points to a relic hominoid, an undocumented great ape, or a persistent trick of the human mind is still an open question. But for anyone who's stood in the silence of a Pike County hollow and felt the weight of an unseen gaze, the answer isn't a settled myth. It's a live possibility, still waiting in the woods. Thanks for spending this time with us in the Ozark backcountry. If you enjoyed digging into the Missouri pattern, give this video a like and subscribe for more investigations into the mysteries science hasn't closed the book on. And we want to hear from you. Drop a comment with the cryptid, legend, or unexplained case you want us to dig into next. Until then, stay curious.